This is going to take time, I think. Here's the problem, Ryan. Here's the problem for Aaron Glenn. Here's the problem with the state of Jets fandom. You guys are tired, and I understand why you're tired. You've watched way too many games that look like Sunday in the last 15 years.
Hello and welcome to Gangs All Here. My name is Ryan Sampson, the host and producer of the show. That's our Jets beat writer, Brian Costello. Today is Monday, September 15th. The New York Jets are coming off a brutal 30-10 loss to the Buffalo Bills on Sunday. We're going to break down what the heck happened yesterday with Cos. But before anything else, as always, Brian Costello, how are you doing today on this Monday?
I'm good, Ryan. How are you?
I'm pretty miserable, not going to lie. Yesterday was a tough watch. My initial thought just after watching everything, and I just watched the all 22 of the entire game again to put myself through the misery. It was even worse than I thought, Kaz. And overall,
Wow.
yeah, I think overall the execution's one thing, which is not good because they didn't execute on any level, and that includes special teams, offense, defense. It's the effort that Aaron Glenn spoke to you guys about just now, saying that he saw effort. I'll be honest with you, I didn't see the effort. I didn't see the guys hustling out there. I didn't see any of the star players that you're counting on make special plays. And it just was a bad performance that I don't know, man. How concerned should I be as a Jets fan right now?
It's one game, right? I think everyone overreacted to week one and the positives there, and I think everyone now is overreacting to the negatives of week two. To me, Ryan, this is the way the season is going to go for the Jets.
Mm,
There's going to be some games where you watch them and you're like, hey, this team isn't bad. Like they're coming. Like they're not bad. And then there's going to be other weeks where you're like, oh my God, they can't do anything right. And I think that's part of the process here of Aaron Glenn trying to turn this thing around. And, he said today the instant coffee line, which I know you guys hate. That was an old Sala line he brought up. So, but like, look, we talk about the Detroit Lions all the time. With that's the example, right? That's the example they've used with Aaron Glenn and what Dan Campbell and Aaron Glenn did there. They went 0-10-1 to start 2021. They went 3-13-1 that season. The next year they started 1-6. They ended up finishing 9-8, and then the third year they went to the NFC Championship game. So this is going to take time, I think. Here's the problem, Ryan. Here's the problem for Aaron Glenn. Here's the problem with the state of Jets fandom. You guys are tired, and I understand why you're tired. You've watched way too many games that look like Sunday in the last 15 years.
yep.
And when you sat there Sunday, it's hard to say, oh, it's a one-off because it's like, okay, how many times have I seen a game where the offense can't do anything?
Right.
How many times have I seen a game where the defense makes dumb penalties and doesn't force any turnovers? How many times have I seen a game where it feels like it's over in the third quarter and the coach punts on 4th and 1, right? So like all those things taken individually, like by themselves, I don't think are a big deal. I think for you guys though, it's just the psyche of how long do I have to wait for this to be good? And it's this 14-year playoff drought just hangs over this franchise. So I think that's the tough part. I think in your heart of hearts, Ryan, you know you have to have patience. You know this is going to take time for Aaron Glenn to do what he wants to do, for them to get a roster that they want in here to institute the change. But you're tired,
Yeah.
and I get it, and I think that's the conflicting things here in the Jets universe right now.
It's well summarized by you about the how the fan feels. I think for me also, and this is something I brought up last week, the consistency, right? I'm looking for some consistency with this team. Can they give effort every single week? Can they perform at a high enough level where you're like, you know what? They look pretty good this week, even though they came away with a loss. I know the moral
Yeah,
victory thing isn't the best thing to describe here because they did have a moral victory last week, but
it is. Yep.
this week it was hot garbage. That's what it was. And I just let's start with the offense, right? The
Yep.
offense was on fire last week. Looked amazing. I haven't seen an offense execute that well in a long time. And it was in rhythm, and Justin Fields threw in rhythm. He didn't have happy feet like you talked about last week. He was decisive. And then all of a sudden, we got the other side of Justin Fields where after he got uncomfortable after the first couple series, he got happy feet in the pocket. He was getting off his first read too quickly. If he had Garrett Wilson open on a button hook, he's like, I'm off that read already.
Yeah.
He was missing guys like Garrett Wilson on deep in, Isaiah Davis in the flat. Like,
Yeah.
there's I have serious concerns now, and now he has a concussion. So, what is your evaluation right now on what this Jets offense in the current state it's in right now?
Justin Fields is on his third team in 3 seasons for a reason, right? And like that's we've talked about it all summer. He's gonna have games where he looks good, Ryan. Like the guy has an unbelievable talent. He was a first round pick for a reason because we saw it at Ohio State what he can do. We've seen it in flashes in Chicago. You saw it a little bit in Pittsburgh, right? Like, and then you saw it in week one. Like you saw, like he can have games like that. What separates the good quarterbacks in the NFL from the other guys is consistency. And I'm not sure, that's the question is can Fields find consistency? And Sunday, the answer was no. And he looked terrible. Like I mean, right from the jump, like you mentioned, the crosser to Garrett, he missed. That was the early one. He sailed the throw, and it was downhill from there. I thought the Bills had a really good game plan.
Yeah.
They were blitzing, they were bringing linebackers, they were bringing cornerbacks. Like they were not going to let the Jets run. They basically said, "Okay, let's see if Justin Fields can beat us." And the answer was a resounding no, right? And that's the tricky part. I've said this, I think, 100 times on this podcast. Is it sounds great on paper. We're going to run the ball. We're going to play great defense when you're down 13 nothing out of the gate, now it gets tricky, right? And so then you're down 20 to nothing or 23 to 3 in the third quarter, and they get the ball, and it's two handoffs to Brees and a short throw to Garrett, and you're off the field. Like that, they don't have a lot of quick strike ability. So yeah, I think the offense was terrible. Um,
Let's get about the Tanner
I
Engstrand part, right? So you just talked about the execution part about Justin Fields and like
yeah,
you get the up and down. How about Engstrand on I think it was the third series of the game or the fourth series. It was after the Justin Fields fumble. It's now 10-0 at this point. The Jets get the ball and they have two straight first downs. They have a big run from Brees Hall. Then they get a
yeah,
nice pass to
the
Garrett Wilson.
reverse,
And you get the reverse to Arian Smith. Tanner Engstrand on first down, getting really cute at midfield. And now you're playing behind the sticks at 2nd and 20. And then Arian Smith lines up off sides after an
yeah,
incomplete pass to left. What is going on here? Like, it was not good from top to bottom, even from execution
yeah.
to coaching.
That's a good example. I didn't think Engstrand was the major problem. I thought execution was the major problem, but that was the reverse was a bad one. I talked to somebody this morning, a longtime coach, and who saw the game and said he looks like a guy calling plays right now, just calling plays off a sheet. Like
Mm.
he doesn't have a good feel yet for how to call the game and the flow of the game. And he's just kind of going down a sheet, calling plays by number, so to speak. And I don't think that's unfair. Second game in, like it's going to take a little while for him to get that has to be incredibly hard, Ryan, when you think about calling a game and how quick it goes and everything. So I didn't think he was the major problem on Sunday. I thought the execution was the bigger problem. And we should say too, Ryan, like just to give some context here, name me the three best teams in the sport, in your opinion.
Probably the Eagles and the Bills and maybe the Ravens right now.
Okay, the Bills are in there though. Name me the top three quarterbacks in the NFL.
Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson.
Yeah. So they're one of the three best teams in the NFL. Josh Allen's one of the three best quarterbacks, and he didn't even have a Josh Allen game on
No,
Sunday. He
the
didn't score a
Jets.
touchdown or run for a
Yeah.
touchdown. So like that's incredible. But like you're like this there's context to this. They didn't play like this against the Panthers or the Saints. Like because if that was the case, then you'd have like some real concerns, right? This was a really good football team. They've got a really good coaching staff. I think Joe Brady has really upped his game as a coordinator. He's doing a great job there. Sean McDermott is a smart coach. Like I said, I thought they had a really good defensive plan. I thought they corrected their problems from Baltimore. So put it all in context. Like that you do have to say they were playing one of the best teams in the sport on Sunday.
Yeah, but
It's not an excuse, but it is part of the context.
I hear you on the context part, but wouldn't you agree that the Jets look like they were they look like they were a team that, didn't even belong on the field with the Bills, right?
They did.
Like
Yeah.
that's
I thought Romo and Nance in the third quarter talking about Alabama versus Middle Tennessee State was rough, but
yeah,
probably true. It felt like the varsity versus the JV,
that's what it felt
and
like.
even that cosmetic touchdown at the end made the score a little better. Like the score, the 30-3 would have fit that game a little more.
And they pulled Josh Allen at the end of the game too because they knew they were up by so much. All right, let's flip it over to the defensive side. This is the biggest concern for me as a Jets fan
Yeah.
right now because this is where the strengths of the team were supposed to be. You know, you brought in a former head coach and Steve Wilks, defensive coordinator, who's had his struggles as a defensive coordinator. He was fired from the 49ers after they went to the Super Bowl. You have Aaron Glenn, who came over as the defensive coordinator from the Detroit Lions. I know the scouting history and all that, but this team was supposed to have a strength as a defense, and 2 weeks in a row, Kaz, they haven't been able to stop a nosebleed. Last week in the pass, this week in the run. How concerned should I be about this Jets defense?
Yeah, I think that's fair, Ryan, because I think the offense I expected growing pains, like I said, Fields is a wild card, right? And Engstrand's a new coordinator, a lot of new pieces over there. We know the weakness at receiver. But on defense, it's largely the same cast of characters as last year when, yes, they did have some major collapses last year, but overall they were the number three defense in the NFL by yards. So, and you have Quinn Williams, you have Jermaine Johnson, you have Will McDonald, you have Quincy Williams, you have Jamie Sherwood, you have Sauce Gardner. These guys are supposed to be some of the best players on your team, and the defense has given up 64 points in 2 weeks. And I think Buffalo probably could have scored more if they didn't take their foot off the gas on Sunday. They pretty much had the game in the third quarter and played like it the rest of the way. So yeah, it's a concern for sure. I'm not sure how much is Wilkes, how much is players right now. I mean, the long touchdown by Cook,
Oof.
they just over pursued, and he made a nice move at the line of scrimmage, and then they were just and they were hard. It was horrible. The pursuit angles have been bad. I've noticed that the tackling pursuit angles have been really bad, whether it was against DK Metcalf in Week 1 or James Cook on
That's a great
Sunday,
point.
and zero takeaways, Ryan. Right, zero takeaways, and again. The ball was on the ground at one point. Cook put it on the ground. They didn't recover it. There was one tipped pass. I think Jermaine tipped it coming out of Josh
Yep.
Allen's hand, and Sauce was kind of in the area, didn't intercept it. Like this defense, that's been the bugaboo of this defense under Saleh and Ulbrich, and now it's continuing. Like you, with the way the offense is right now, the offense is a work in progress to me. You got to give them a short field sometimes. You got to help them out, and this defense never feels like it comes up with that turnover. So yeah, and now you got Baker Mayfield. I mean, we're recording this before the game Monday night, so we'll see how they do against Houston. But I would expect Baker Mayfield to come out and have a pretty good game on Sunday as well.
Man, it's not pretty right now. And I know what you're saying. Don't overreact. Be patient. But the defense 2 weeks in a row has not given me any confidence whatsoever. And they didn't get after Josh Allen even in passing situations. I also wanted to get your thoughts on, are they a predictable defense? I mean, Tony Romo was picking them apart in the broadcast, and I was watching the film. A lot of man coverage. Third down, they could not get a stop if their life depended on it in passing situations. They're picking on Stevens. They're picking on Sauce even too, and he struggled a little bit yesterday. Tony Adams didn't look great in pass coverage. I know that he had that the holding that led up to actually being almost a catch by Kincaid. What? How do they fix this? How do you fix third down situational awareness? And also, if you want to get into a cause, the Michael Clemons penalty on 3rd and 19, which converts him for another first down. They got some disciplinary issues now here too.
Yeah, I mean, look, we can get into the Clemens thing. I think it's tough. It's a bang bang play, right? Like he I didn't think it was gratuitous. I didn't think it was a gratuitous roughing the passer, but it's Josh Allen. You have to know he's going to get that call. I think they covered it all week. They prepared them, and he was just one step too far, right? But yeah, they're grabbing a lot because even like Sauce Gardner got the holding on
Yep.
the it ended up being the Trubisky completion, so they declined it. Um, so that they've got to work on it in practice, Ryan. That's all you can do, and hope it gets better. I think I remember one year Todd Bowles had them practice with tennis balls in their hands so that
Yeah.
they wouldn't be able to grab the jersey. Maybe Glenn does something like that. I don't know, but they got to fix it because it's the third down penalties are just killers. There's absolute killers.
Yeah. I mean, that's a key sign of a good defense is if you're creating turnovers and if you get those stops on third down, which neither of the Jets are doing right now currently. Yeah, go back to the Clemens part though. You're saying it wasn't as gratuitous as us fans is perceiving. I had asked you the question when we right before the season started about final roster cuts. Clemons did
Yes.
nothing in the preseason. In fact, I don't think he deserves to be on this roster as a fan. I've watched enough film on him. I don't think he's good against the run. I don't think he rushes the passer well. He doesn't present anything good for you in a positive way, but yet he made the roster and he continues to make mistakes like this. How does this guy have a job still with the Jets right now?
Yeah, I would just say, who did you want them to keep instead of him? I don't think there was really a candidate to keep. You want Eric Watts? I don't know. Like he's, I get what you're saying, but I don't think there was a better alternative. Like should they have signed Zadarius Smith? Should they have signed Jadeveon Clowney? Should they have gone down that road? Do you think you could argue that for sure? But they didn't. So now, I mean, now the problem is he played 42 snaps, I think it was on Sunday
Because of the
because
Jermaine.
Jermaine got hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he played more than Will McDonald. Like that, this is sort of what happened last year. I think Michael Clemens is fine if he's playing a really small role on your defense and he plays special teams. I think the problem is when you get him on the field for too much of the time. That's when they get into trouble. But yeah, it's the history, the penalties. I get it. When he makes a penalty like this, it just adds to it because of his history. I just don't see this one as gratuitous as maybe some of the others. You know, he didn't get in a fight with Deion Dawkins yesterday. That's a plus, right? So, but he's definitely become a lightning rod.
Jets had another 5 penalties yet there yesterday for 35 yards worth of penalties. Glenn preached that he was going to coach these guys, and try to fix the penalty problem. It's still a problem right now. Is this something I need patience for as well? Feels like this is something that
I
could be corrected as well, too.
I don't think it's realistic for coaches to change penalties. Like the Baltimore Ravens had a ton of penalties last year. John Harbaugh's a good coach. They're a good team. Like I think it's the way you play football, and if you're aggressive, penalties happen. I know it drives fans crazy. I get it. I think if you're repeating the same penalty over and over again, like I remember, I think it was Greg Williams when he was the defense coordinator. They were getting roughing the passer calls like repeatedly, and that's a problem. But I just I think penalties are on players more than coaches. I know that's not a popular opinion. Everyone says discipline, and even Glenn is preaching that. I think it's very tough to coach penalties out of players. I just don't know. You're not going to cut players from committing penalties. You're not going to bench them if they're good players. Um, I'm not sure how you get that to stop, Ryan.
Yep, I hear you. Certainly Michael Clemens, I don't think he's a very good player. But with that being said, let's go to Justin Fields, the concussion. What is your sense? I know we're very early. This is only Monday. They have the
Yeah.
game against Tampa Bay next week. I don't think it sounds like he's going to play this week, but I've been surprised before. What is your sense on the quarterback situation?
Yeah, I don't have a sense. I wouldn't say that. I'm going off history. Usually guys miss a week,
Yeah.
right? Sometimes they get back, but usually guys miss at least a week. It's tough to. There's a lot of steps of the protocol, and Aaron Glenn did say he's got to practice to play. Like he's not gonna play him without practicing. So we'll see. We'll know more Wednesday. We'll see if he's able to do anything Wednesday, if he's able to be on the field. Um, he won't be fully cleared by Wednesday, but can he take some steps in the protocol? If he's not like even out in the field Wednesday, I think you're going to see Tyrod Taylor on Sunday.
Would that mean that Brady Cook will be elevated to the backup?
Yeah, they'd actually have to sign him to the active roster because you can't be elevated off the practice squad to. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. He'd be the second quarterback, so you might be able to just you'd be able to just elevate him. You can't be the third quarterback on the practice
Right.
squad. So yeah, so they could elevate Brady Cook up to the game day roster.
Well, here we are, already in this situation where we could potentially see Brady Cook if something happens to the injury-prone Tyrod Taylor against the Buccaneers next week, if that's the way it goes. Brian Costello, we appreciate you coming on and just giving us all your insight. We know we'll be following your coverage all this week, what happens with Justin Fields, and what other injury notes, news, and notes come out. But until next time, we appreciate you, Kaz.
I'm the voice of positivity. This is not good, Ryan. This is a dark, dark Monday if I'm preaching positivity here. So
I know. I'm
hang
trying.
in there.
I
Hang in there.
I
It's early. It's
appreciate you, man.
early.
I appreciate
It's
you.
early.